Hello, hello. I am doing well, how do I describe this? Because it's not watercolor painting every day, it's learning to watercolor every day. Also, I want to apologize in advance. My setup right now is not very good. The camera is probably going to shake. The stand I bought is not very steady. But basically, I'm teaching myself watercolor through tutorials for children, random WikiHows, and mostly off of pictures. This is day one, and I'm using a tutorial for kids, a small project that is to make a heart card. I don't remember the actual project, I just remember that it was a heart. And I remember the basic steps. I read about this project like a week ago. It took a while to get all the supplies in. I did not get everything I actually needed, but that's fine. Forgive what my paintbrush looks like. It came with my watercolor set, and I did use it to do the swatches, which were fun. I messed up a few of them, but it's fine. Now, I need to get the heart wet. I just need to paint in with water the base layer to start the wet on wet process. This is the first technique I'm trying to learn. It apparently makes a softer color when it's dry, and it makes it easier to blend colors together that look soft. It makes it have a soft-like appearance. I'm going to use xanthanin. Coat the paintbrush pretty well, and then just tap it and get that color in there. See if I can get a darker. See about how much I can load onto this paintbrush. And I don't know how long this series will work or be. It'll probably go until I'm happy with my watercolor skills. It might go on forever if I end up falling in love with watercolor. But this will be weekly sets, so I'm gonna record all 7 days in one video and then publish it. Alright, so there's the purple. Next, I think I will do... I need to clean my brush better. Next, I think I will do... Let's go with peacock blue. Load up my brush. And then we're going to do this corner over here. I can't remember the blog name that I got this tutorial from, but I found it by looking up watercolor tutorials for kids. And the image shows a heart with 3 colors in it. If I find it, I might put it in the description down below. Why is all the water running down here? I thought this was better level than it actually is, apparently. And then I need a third color. Let's go with green. But which green should I go with? You know what? Let's go with light yellow ochre green. Load up my brush. Load up my brush more. I have mostly done acrylic painting in the past, but I've had to stop for several years due to mobility issues. But I am currently healing and getting better. So this is part of my rehabilitation, is learning these small little crafts. So this is day 1, max. I will show you how it looks when it's dry before I record day 2 tomorrow. Hello, we're back with day 2. Well, not really back. This is all going into one video. I tried to adjust my setup so the camera might not shake as much. It might still shake. This is the best I could do. Here is what day 1 looks like dried. Not as pretty as I wanted it to be, but that's fine. Today we're gonna try to make a sky. Still using the wet on wet technique. So I'm going to use, I just hit my phone, a brush to wet the paper. Also, I am recording this on my phone. I don't have any other camera, but one day I'll get a better setup. I want this to be pretty damp. The more water you use, apparently, the better the colors run. I have also learned that you're supposed to activate your colors before using them. So I've done that this time. We're just going to use sky blue. As much as I can get on here. And I'm going to be trying a lifting technique to make the clouds, which I have never done before. I'm hoping it turns out well. I'm also going to add in Prussian blue. I believe that's the blue this is. Yes, Prussian blue. Just a little bit, just to see what happens. Let's do more sky blue. All right. And now to try the lifting technique, which is to take a paper towel. I only have tissues, but I hope that'll work. And just okay, that's bad. I messed that up already. But it's an easy fix. Just like that. And let's try this, make sure there's no wrinkles. It's not that good, but this is my first time doing watercolors or doing a lifting technique. Alright, and now I want to add details on the bottom with the black I activated. I did not activate the black. I meant to activate the black. I did not activate it. Oh. Make sure that doesn't get on my desk mat. This was a gift from my fiance. And we're just going to paint a small little area. And let's do a shadowy tree. Not very good at doing trees. You know, I'm sure it's fine. But this was day 2. Max. Perfect. Nice quick little water painting to learn how to water paint. I will show you the finished result before I paint day 3. Thank you. Alright, it is day 3. This is what day 2 finished like. Also, I would like to clarify, although I'm doing quick little paintings, I'm doing them to learn specific things. Specifically, right now, the wet on wet technique. Like the first one, I realized that I didn't use enough water. This one, I used a bit too much, and I also learned that I can't put the foreground without letting it dry. That was my bad. And this time, I have sketched out 2 daffodils, because daffodils are my favorite flower. I have activated my paint. Now, I'm going to do this 2 different ways to continue learning this wet on wet technique. This one is going to be very wet, while this one is not going to be that wet. I'm going to do one at a time. Oh, I forgot to activate my greens. Which green is the best for this? Let's do olive. Activating my olive green. There is a dog hair in my paint. How did that happen? Okay, that is activated. Now, I need to get my flowers wet. I should probably not use my fan brush for this. So this one I want to be very damp. Try not to get out of the lines. I want to see how much the colors swirl. And change, depending on how wet it is. That is the experiment for today. Okay, so I've got my colors. Let's start with burnt umber. Just gonna do this one over in here. That is a little bit down here. Now I want yellow ochre to be mixed into that area. Wow, I have already messed this up. That's better. Maybe the burnt umber was too strong. But I still want a tiny bit more. Just a tiny bit. Just at the base here. That was too much. So let's see if I can remove some. Oh, that actually worked. This brush does not want to get rid of this yellow. And then, oh, that is pooling down there. Alright, and now, is this the yellow I activated? No, this is. I wanted a bright yellow. To add in there. Swoosh it around. More yellow. And the stem has gone brown. And I still want to add more yellow. Why is this yellow so dry? I activated it. Alright, I'm going to dry the stem. So I'm going to dry some of this petal because the water's pooling there. Which works for the shadow. And I'm just going to paint that and drop in the green for the stem. Alright, it's one flower done. Is this recording? Okay, yeah, it is actually recording. I would hate to lose day 3. This is day 3. Alright, so for this one, I want it less damp. I want it... Why is there still paint on this? What? This yellow does not want to give up. It's still on my brush. What the heck? There we go. Okay, so for this one, we're going with less damp. Just enough to get it all over the flower. Because I really want to see how different amounts of water affects the painting. And I know I could just look up a tutorial and look at that. Or I could not. It might be a bit too much water for what I want. There we go. That's better. Alright. So, I'm going to go in with a light amount of the burnt umber. Just down in here and a bit in here. Maybe a little down here. And a bit up here. But mostly here. Okay, let's clean my brush. And then I'm going to go in with orange, just a tiny bit, and add into that. Just a little bit. Clean the brush, clean the brush. Now I'm going to go with my darker yellow, my yellow ochre that I need to activate again because that does not have very much water on it. I'm going to add that in. Just right in here. I really hope this turns out well. I love daffodils. They are literally my favorite flower. They were always the flower that would grow first before my birthday. So I always would see them counting down to my birthday. And I just loved seeing them. We had a huge amount that grew naturally in my childhood yard. And there was a church across the street where the groundskeeper would sell daffodils. So he'd have this little stand that I could see from my bus stop, just filled with daffodils every spring. That has dried a lot. Okay, let's re-wet this. So little water dries quicker. And you gotta be careful it doesn't dry while you're actually painting. Okay. Now, I'm going to go in with my, what color is this? Permanent yellow. Just going to go in at the top. I need more water in my permanent yellow. There we go. And I'm going to add a little bit more my yellow ochre just to darken the leaves where I mixed in the permanent yellow. Also, I really hope I'm doing this right. I mean, it's watercolor. I've never properly learned watercolor. The few interactions I had with it were all at school with those awful plastic brushes. I think those brushes were the bane of my existence. I could never figure out how to paint properly with them. Alright, and then we're going to go with our olive green for the stem. Alright. And let's... maybe I can actually write this time with my paintbrush, since it's not a wet on wet signature. Day. Three. Max. And a little heart. There we go. Alright. Alright, I will show you what it's like when I get ready to do day 4. Is that working? Yes. Alright, we're back with day 4. So, this is how day 3 turned out. I realize I forgot to add the orange to this one, but I have learned a lot of water is good for creating shadows with the waters running around and texture. I don't really like it for flowers, but it's really good for skies. But I do like this one a lot. So I'm very happy with how this experiment turned out. And today, we are going to try to redo day 1 and see if I can get the colors to blend better now that I've gotten more practice. Wow, that is the most uneven heart I think I've ever drawn. Wow, I cannot draw today. That's good enough. It is just an attempt. Alright, so start by getting the water on here. My brush is permanently stained yellow at the moment. That yellow really likes to hold on. No wonder it's called permanent yellow. I should have foreseen this. And instead of the gray, we're going to use pink. So we're going with the same blue, the same purple, why is it pooling? Alright, let's start with the purple. Okay, yeah, that's working a lot better than last time. Pile a bit more. Now we're gonna go with the blue. We're gonna do that down here. This really does like to pool. That's gonna stay in my brush forever too. And now, let's see if I can get the pink. I did activate it, but I waited a pretty long time. So I want that to combine a bit. Also want this to combine a bit. So add a bit more purple. And a bit more pink. See if I can get this pigment heavy on the brush. I don't know what to do about this pooling. It is completely flat. Okay, the paper's warping. That is probably what's happening. Let's just expand this heart a bit. And expand it a bit over here as well. To try at least help with that pulling. I think I used too much blue. Maybe I should have used a darker color than pink. Okay, yep. Let's see. We're just gonna soak up some of this water. Add more paint in here. I'm apparently very bad at watercolors. But you know what? That's fine. I'm learning. You know, I probably should have done the pink first because it is the lightest color. And let's remove a bit more down here. And then I'm going to get some black paint. Day 4. Max. Yeah, this was definitely a fail. But you can't be good each time like my daffodils. I really like my daffodils. Love my daffodils. Well, I will show you the results before I paint day 5. Okay, here is day 4. It's actually been a few days since I last painted, but I was doing some research. Turns out this is not good watercolor paper. I was basically scammed. It's not actually 100% cotton like it was supposed to be, so that's fun. A little disheartening, but that's fine. Well, so I have done the research, and this is not good for the kind of experiments I want to do with watercolor, like learning the limits of the water, learning how much I should use, things like that. So I'm gonna have to pivot to wet on dry and learning layering for a bit until I can afford better paper. I should have known it wasn't good paper because, well, it was $5 for 64 pieces. And the new paper I'm looking at is $15 or $20 for 15 sheets of the same 5x7. So now I know what to look for good paper. And I discovered why my paintbrush kept having yellow and pink in it. Apparently, you can get paint stuck in here. Actually, there's still a bit of yellow in there. I tried to get it out, but it's in there good. So, today we're going to work on layering. So I'm going to do a thin base of blue, just like this. Now this is more water than I should probably be using, but it's fine if it domes, which this paper does like to do. I just need a thin coat of blue I know I don't really have good technique, but this is my first time watercolor painting, so it's kind of expected. And I just want this to be a very thin coat of blue. Just in a wave pattern. I probably overworked this paint. It's already doming, but that's fine. Now I'm going to let this dry before coming back and doing the next layer. Okay, I can't tell if this is actually in frame, but it looks like it. So we're going to do the second layer now. And I am attempting to do this with a puddle of color next to me. I've never done this before, so let's hope. Let's do it like that. Also, this is very difficult with how domed the paper is. But we're just gonna go in with our second layer of blue. I'm probably overworking the paint, but all well. I just want to get a nice layered effect, so I can understand layering. And the paper gets more domed the more I paint. This is so great. And just like that, the second layer is done. And I'll come back for the third once it's dry. Alright, the second layer is dried. Let's go in for our third. Let's do here. And this will be the last layer, which I can already see the differences between the layers, which I'm very happy about. Because I honestly was expecting to mess this up. Especially considering how domed the paper is. Now the waves might not look good, but the layering is good. It's all that really matters. white, and then I'm going to activate the black.
Oh, you're up early.
I am recording.
I'm sorry.
It's all good. Just give me a second. And I will post tomorrow what it looks like. Okay, this is day 5. Nice and dried, very not flat, but that's fine. I've grown to expect it with this paper. This paper genuinely sucks. So today we're going to do layering again. Make sure my brush is nice and clean. Alright. We're going to start off with a layer of pink all across the paper. This is wet on dry. That is the wrong side of the paper. You know, I'm just going to go with it this time. Maybe it'll work out better than the other side. Maybe it'll turn out worse. This is what experimenting is for. I want this to be thinner. And it's already doming, but that's fine. You know, technically, since I used the wrong side of the paper this time, I can use the other side tomorrow. Then I'd have more paper to go through. I really don't want to keep using this paper. I want to learn on better paper, but until I can afford it, this is what I've got. Need a bit more water over here. Just so you know, since I don't know if you can see it, but the paper has domed by already 1 or 2 centimeters, even while being held down by the tape. Alright, so I'm going to let that dry, and then we'll come back for our next layer. Okay, time for layer 2. I've got my water mix. Is that shaking? No, it's not. Okay. I'm just going to put in a little design. The same color, which by the way I'm using rose. Is that called rose? Rose powder. Wow, I have already messed up this petal. You know, it's fine. That is too much water. Well, I did one really good petal and a couple really bad ones. But it's okay, I have mobility issues. And honestly, it's turning out better than I thought. Every single one of these petals is different. Okay, let's do another one over here. Wow, each of these petals gets weirder and weirder. But I'm not a professional. So honestly, it's kind of expected. At least the weight of this water is helping to curve the doming. And let's attempt another one down here. A smaller one if I can manage that. This is supposed to have 5 petals. I don't think it's gonna have 5 petals. You know what? We're gonna just put 6 petals on this thing. It's a completely different flower. Definitely on purpose. Not because I made a mistake. You know, one of these looks like a proper flower. I'm gonna call that a win. Who knows, maybe it's 2 flowers intersecting right there. Let's do some free-falling petals. If you can't tell that I have aphantasia and I can't remember what things look like, if I'm not looking at them, then I am so sorry. But that is exactly what I have. It's honestly a miracle they look this good. Alright, and I forgot anything to dry my brush. And I've got pools. Which does not help with the layering, but I can fix it in the next layer. Which reminds me, now it is time to let this dry so I can layer it again. Okay. Time for layer 3 now that it's dried. That looks so bad. That looks so bad. I don't even think I could fix this. But we're just going to put darker pink on the leaves for another layer. Wow, this is bad. But it's okay to be bad. I have mobility issues and I'm a beginner. At least I managed to spread out some of the paint while it was drying. But yeah, this watercolor paper hates water. This kind of looks like a very bad firework. Let's do the tops of the petals darker for this one. And what I've learned for tomorrow, actually remember to get something to dry your brush with. I can remember to do that. Probably. On this one, let's do it here. Also, I probably need to buy more brushes. This is actually the only brush I have. This is not very good for small work, like the tops of the petals would have been. Okay, and for this one, this kind of looks like a heart. Just go around the outside. That still looks so bad. I wonder if I just do that. It looks like it's a flower on the ground. That all these other flowers are falling towards. Well, luckily I'm a beginner, so I can be disappointed in how this looks, and I'll learn for next time. But, oh wait, I have to sign it. Did I activate my black? I did. Day 6. Max. Getting better at dropping in color, at least. At least I'm learning some skills. That's all that matters in this test. It's to learn skills, so I can be painting actual big paintings soon. But I'm gonna let this dry, and I'll show you what it looks like before I paint tomorrow's. Alright, it's time for day 7. This was the turnout for day 6. It did rip when I took the tape off, which is kind of funny because this is the weakest tape I've ever seen. But that was day 6. Today we're attempting a strawberry. I had to look at a photo to draw this, and I still messed it up 3 times. But I got it down. So, I have not checked what color red I'm using. I probably should have. Is this even red? This might be orange. But let's go ahead with our first layer. Okay, it is in fact red. Oh, this is a good red for this. And it is 4 in the morning. I could not sleep, so might as well do day 7 of my watercolors, since they take forever. I really can't wait to get to the point where it takes me a couple hours or a couple weeks and the paintings turn out amazing, if they ever do. Because I would really like to paint really pretty things. I used to paint with acrylics before my hands got bad, but of course, haven't been able to do that for a long time. Okay. So now that the red is on there, we're going to let that dry. It's not very well smoothed out. And we're going to go in with green. I also didn't check what color green this is. I'm definitely on it with doing my watercolors today. So let's just go in with green. Are the stems green? I can't remember. I also don't have any light spots in this. Probably should have done that. Oh well, I'll learn lighting eventually. Yeah, let's just say this is green. Okay, and now we're going to let that dry completely. Okay, the paint is dried. I think I'll try to do the light coming in from this area because that's where my actual light in my room is, because I don't have an overhead light. So this area over here will be where the light is. I don't really know light theory, so we're gonna pretend that this is correct, because it's okay to mess up when you're new to something. I am saying this for myself. So I am too much of a perfectionist to have the mobility issues I actually have. I can barely stay in the lines. Okay, get the red off my brush, dry it off, and paint the leaves. And again, we wait for that to dry. By the way, I'm totally doing a strawberry because we just got strawberries in with our groceries. So. Wow, the paper really does not like watercolors. Okay, there's the red done. Layering really does add a nice darkness to it. Like, shadow. That's the word. This will probably be the last layer of green. Just a few little touch-ups. And once again, we wait for it to dry. Okay, it's dried again. I'm just going to go in with another layer of the red over here. A little bit under these leaves. I have moved the green into the strawberry. Oof, oh well. Now I'm going to get probably shouldn't use black. So I water it down with a little bit of red. Does that work? Is that turning gray? I don't know. So I'm just going to dot in the dry areas the little seeds. That was not a dry area. I don't know if this actually looks like seeds or not. Hopefully it does. Alright, is this dry enough? No, it's not. Well, I'll finish the rest of the seeds once it's dry. Okay, the red is dried. I can add more seeds. Did I mix too much red into this? Possibly. But you know what? It's fine. I am a beginner. It is okay to make mistakes. No one starts out as being perfect. These are affirmations for myself. That was a slope. Yeah, there's no fixing that slope. There just won't be any seeds over there. Alright. And now day 7. Max. And I'll show you what it looks like when it's done in the next video. I hope you guys have a good week, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.